Welcome to the One Health English Speaking and Listening Test at the School of Veterinary Medicine, Hokkaido University. Introduction. There are 6 sections. Sections 1 through 3 involve listening to a text and responding to it, while sections 4 through 6 involve reading a text and responding to it. Each section has equal weight and is judged on a scale from 0 to 5 based on a rubric. Score of 5 means native speaker-like speed and clarity with good organization, where a score of 0 means no answer with content is given. You should always say something. This test simulates real-world scenarios where silence is not appropriate. At any time, if you see a red box, you can click on that one to jump ahead if you want to skip the introduction or explanations. Testing directions 1. Please go through the following 4 steps on your own and raise your hand if you have any problems. Directions 2. Unfortunately, the test software allows you to pause or rewind, but please do not do that. Some parts of the test will pause by itself, and you can rest at those times. If you have a problem or a question about the procedure, you can pause and raise your hand to get my attention. Sections 1 through 5 all begin with a sample question and answer from a high-scoring student, and there is a button to skip the samples if you would like. But note that Section 6 has no sample answer. Sections 1 through 3, listening and speaking. Repetition, quick response, and summarizing. Section 1, repetition, accuracy, tone, and pronunciation. You will hear a word 2 times. Repeat the word 1 time after the beep. Next, you will hear a sentence containing the previous word 2 times. Repeat the sentence 1 time after the beep. First, listen to the example, question, and sample answer. You don't need to speak during the example.
Significant. Significant.
Significant.
There were no significant differences between the 2 groups. There were no significant differences between the 2 groups.
There were no significant differences between the 2 groups.
Interestingly. Interestingly. Interestingly, the expression of the gene has increased. Interestingly, the expression of the gene has increased.
Associated. Associated. The infection is associated with the development of kidney stones. The infection is associated with the development of kidney stones. Biomass. Biomass. We investigated the effect of pollution on the microbial biomass in the soil. We investigated the effect of pollution on the microbial biomass in the soil.
underlying, underlying. Our findings provide insights into the underlying mechanisms of the signaling pathways. Our findings provide insights into the underlying mechanisms of the signaling pathways. Histopathology. Histopathology. The diagnosis of pancreatic carcinoma was made by histopathology. The diagnosis of pancreatic carcinoma was made by histopathology. This is the end of Section 1. Section 2. Quick response. Smooth interactions in casual conversation. You will see a short clip of a conversation between two friendly colleagues named A and B. The structure is A speaks, B speaks, A speaks. Then respond as if you are B. You will hear each question once, and there is no preparation time. You will hear an example followed by a sample answer.
Sorry, I forgot to get going.
Oh, do you?
Yes, have a good night.
Have a good night, you too. Get some sleep.
I am so happy it's Friday.
Yes, me too. It's been a long week.
Do you have any plans this weekend? Wow, I had a little trouble following that last lecture.
Oh no, did you? It was really interesting.
Really? Would you mind sitting down with me just for a minute to go over some concepts? Did you walk to school today?
Yes, I always do.
Really? Walking 3 kilometers in this heat?
Hey, I have got some good news. My baseball team made it to the championship match.
Oh my gosh, really? That's wonderful news.
Thank you. Will you be able to come watch? It's next Monday night. I had a strange thought the other day.
Okay, you've got my attention.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like if we can see in 360 degrees like a spider? I wish I had more space in my apartment.
Oh, why do you say that?
I really want to get a dog, but I would feel bad if I keeping it in my crowded room.
This is the end of Section 2. Section 3. Summarizing. Short passage listening, comprehension, and efficient speech. Listen to a short passage between 2 to 4 minutes. Prepare your answer, you'll have 75 seconds. And summarize the content within 60 seconds. You will hear an example, followed by a sample answer.
In vivo bioreactor can regenerate bone tissue. When a patient has a critical sized bone defect due to trauma, infection, or cancer, what are the surgical options? A traditional intervention is to graft a metallic or synthetic implant onto the bone, but this carries risk of complications such as infection or rejection by the host. A more reliable alternative is to remove a piece of the patient's healthy bone, often the hip bone, to graft onto the damaged section. This autologous bone is vascularized and has little chance of rejection since it is biocompatible. However, this procedure can cause chronic pain or injury to the site from which the bone was removed. But in recent years, stem cell therapies are beginning to offer novel options. It is possible to grow large amounts of new bone and even cartilage inside the patient. This autologous neo-bone is also biocompatible and provides more options for customization compared to a hip bone graft. The process is called in vivo bioreactor. The in vivo bioreactor was first demonstrated by Stevens et al. In rabbits in the following way. A healthy long bone, for example the tibia, in the patient's body is used to start the reaction to create the new bone tissue. The researchers inject a catalyzing gel between the outer layer of the bone, called the periosteum, and the underlying bone. In mammals, this outer layer of the bone has pluripotent stem cells in it, and these stem cells react with the injected gel and harden within 30 seconds. After 6 weeks, the surgeon can remove this new living bone tissue and graft it to the injured bone. This method has 3 major benefits for the patient. It can create large amounts of living bone, the genetics of the tissue is identical to the patient's, and the vascular structure is ready to attach to the broken bone. While the in vivo bioreactor is a significant advancement of medicine, it is still largely in the preclinical phase and has only seen limited use in humans so far. One drawback is that it requires planning and cannot be used in emergencies. It also may not be suitable for older patients who cannot generate enough stem cells. So it remains to be seen whether this will become a major option for surgeons in the future.
In vivo bioreactor can generate bone tissue rejection. Bone injury or fracture is conventionally treated via insertion of metallic synthetic implants. However, infection and rejection due to this method is at high rate. Therefore, some uses the hip bone graft. The hip bone graft is better since the use of autologous bone makes it compatible to the patient, leading to less rejection. However, there could be injury and pain to the patient. Now, to answer this problem, there is now the use of autologous bone graft using stem cells of the patient. Stevens et al. Have used long bones as research subjects where the lamellar layer just below the periosteum was used. The problem is there is it is still yet at the preclinical phase and cannot be at the preclinical phase and
Minimal cells evolve faster than regular cells. If a cell has lost all but its minimum essential genes for reproduction, can it still mutate and evolve? According to a report in Nature, yes, it can, and in fact, it evolves even faster than the original strain. A minimal cell is a product of synthetic biology. In a study published in 2023, a team of researchers reported that they had reduced the chromosome of bacterial Mycoplasma mycoides from 901 to 493 protein encoding genes. Wild-type Mycoplasma mycoides, an obligate pathogen in ruminants, already has a small genome, but the minimal cell in this study has the smallest genome of any organism that can be grown in field laboratory culture, according to the authors. To observe the effects of natural selection on a minimal genome, the minimal cells was subjected to the reproductive fitness experiments alongside its non-minimal counterpart. Because it has lost so many genes, at first the minimal cell could only produce half as much offspring as the non-minimal cell. In other words, its reproductive fitness was 0.5 times that of the cell that had a full genome. Then, over the course of 10 months, both cell lines were grown in vitro for 20,000 generations. Both populations experienced mutations at the same rate. Single nucleotide mutations was the most common, but insertions and deletions also occur. This shows that even when every gene is essential, they are still subject to pressures of natural selection, and successful mutations are passed down the lineage. Incredibly, by the end of the study period, the fitness of the minimal cell had recovered, and it was now producing the same amount of offspring as the non-minimal cell did at the beginning of the study. Of course, the non-minimal cell line evolved as well, increasing its reproductive fitness, but at a 39% slower rate than the minimal cell line. Evolution cannot necessarily solve every problem though. The minimal cell size was smaller than non-minimal, and it did not significantly increase in size. The authors of the study say these findings can help uncover the mechanisms by which parasites and endosymbionts lose genes during their adaptation to the host. Furthermore, the successful recovery in fitness suggests that future biotechnology tools may be able to use natural selection as an engineer rather than human intervention alone.
Bats have a protein to suppress immune responses to viruses. Bats are reservoirs to many viruses that are dangerous to humans. They can carry Ebola virus, Nipah virus, a variety of coronaviruses, and more. They transmit viruses between each other very easily since they roost together in great numbers, leading to viruses being present at very high levels within the bats' bodies. Yet, despite this, they are asymptomatic carriers, not showing signs of disease. Not only that, they live very long for their body size, as much as 40 years. A team of scientists now think they know the reason for both of these incredible traits. In an article published in Cell in 2023, researchers identified the protein BAT-ASC2 as a key regulator of the bat immune system. To be more specific, it's a negative regulator of the inflammasome. Inflammasomes are multi-protein complexes that become activated when pathogens enter a cell, as well as other immune-related responses. However, inflammasomes can also damage the cell by inducing too much inflammation. Because BAT-ASC2 is highly potent, bats can avoid stress-related inflammation during viral infection, which may also partially explain their long lifespans. Actually, humans have the protein ASC2 as well, but it is poorly expressed in most tissues, so humans cannot receive the benefits and thus develop harmful inflammatory responses to bat-borne viruses. So, the research team wanted to check whether the BAT-ASC2 could be developed as a therapeutic tool for infections in humans. They found that transgenic mice that expressed BAT-ASC2 were more protected from influenza A virus than the control group. Furthermore, in vitro studies showed that human cells containing BAT-ASC2 also suppressed the inflammasome response when exposed to SARS-CoV-2 spike protein. What makes the study even more promising is that the team found that bat and human ASC2 mainly differ in key residues at 4 sites among the 5 different regions of the protein. It is hoped that more research into bat immunology will provide strategies for human medicine to combat inflammatory diseases and, ultimately, aging. This is the end of Section 3. Sections 4 through 6, Reading and Speaking. Formal Speech, Data Interpretation, Comprehensive Argument. Section 4, Formal Speech, Presenting yourself professionally in social situations. Read about a situation from academic or professional life. Follow the directions of the bold line of text. You will have 1 minute to read and prepare, and 25 seconds to speak. The prompt will remain on screen while you talk. You will read an example, followed by a sample answer.
Greetings, Mrs. Lee. I just want to apologize because I have to reschedule our appointment. This is because I have an important assignment in my laboratory given by my professor. I hope you understand. I'm really sorry.
This is the end of Section 4. Section 5. Data Analysis. Summarizing the content of a chart, graph, or map. You will see an image for 120 seconds, then you will have 60 seconds to speak. In your speech, you should identify, interpret, and organize the most important data points into a narrative that is memorable and easy for the listener to follow. The image will remain on screen while you talk. You will see an example followed by a sample answer.
The graph or the figure shows the cattle distribution by region in Africa, Eurasia, and Oceania. This is sourced from Robinson et al. 2014, mapping the global distribution of livestock plus 1. It is interesting to note that India in the South Asia leads the cattle inventory per square kilometer. It is followed by East and Central Africa and China, and also the origin of cattle in the Eurasia region. However, there are parts of the continent where there is unsuitable environment for cattle production, especially in the Himalayan region, and also a lesser production in most of Australia, Russia, North Africa, and in the Middle
This is the end of Section 5. Section 6. Comprehensive Argument. Taking a position on an issue and providing logical support. You will see two questions, A and B. Both have sample yes and no answers written about them. Respond to one question only. Give specific reasons to support your opinion. You will have 3 minutes to prepare and 2 minutes to speak. Questions will remain on screen while you speak. There is no example answer. This is the end of section 6. Make sure you have saved your file in the folder called Kojin Holder.